PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele, and it has been a really fun weekend getting to be at the NHL Draft at the Sphere here in Las Vegas. Now, if you have been on our social medias at Vegas Hockey Hub, I have been posting all of the content. We've been putting on some good videos, getting some good engagement from everyone who has been watching those videos. I do appreciate it. But it is time now to get away from the draft overall. And on this episode, on a nice Monday, we are going to discuss the Vegas Golden Knights draft picks from this year's draft. And this is going to be a lot of fun, and this is going to be a really fun, entertaining episode. I'm looking forward to discussing all of this with you here on Vegas Hockey Hub with your host, Ian Rachiele. Now, once again, I do want to plug our social media. Go to @Vegas Hockey Hub. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and we have posted all of our content on there, so I highly recommend watching that. And let's get into all of this here on Vegas Hockey Hub. So getting into the draft itself, let's talk about the main reason that we are doing this video, and that is talking about with the 19th overall pick in the 2024 NHL Draft, you will have the Vegas Golden Knights, and you see it right there on the screen. You got George McPhee, you got Kelly McCrimmon, and that is Trevor Connolly. And Trevor Connolly from the United States Hockey League playing for the Tri-City Storm. And what's interesting about him is talent-wise and skill-wise, he shouldn't even have been on the board by the time Vegas was 19th overall. Like, I have spoke to 4 or 5 people about Trevor Connolly, and his speed, his skill, his vision, his hockey IQ, they have all been extremely positive reviews heading into the draft. If you look at his draft report card, it is mostly solid 7, 8, 9s when it comes to those report cards that you look at with Trevor Connolly. He is a top 10 talent entering the draft. Now, I want to address the one thing that everybody's going to mention about Trevor Connolly, and that is his questionable off-ice tactics that has happened throughout his amateur career. Now, I'm not going to go all the way into it, but the brief summary is that when it comes to Trevor Connolly, he was suspended from high school following an incident when it came to hazing. He also got removed from a team while he was playing for a amateur team because of a trying to think of how to say the word about getting banned on this platform. But he pretty much built something that resembles a certain symbol that is very taboo. And he quickly deleted it, everything there. He apologized and everything. But he was removed from that team. And then he also, he got, accused of, racial slurs. He got suspended for a little bit because of that accusation. And there's been a bunch of things that has happened with Trevor Connolly that has been a cloud that has really surrounded his name. But when you excuse or when you overlook the off-ice stuff and the stuff that isn't just hockey related, and you look at the stats of Trevor Connolly, now I am not going to go all the way back and talk about every single thing that he has done in his amateur career. This would be too long of a video for that. But the Tri-City Storm and the 2 years that he has been at the Tri-City Storm, it's very important because over the last 2 seasons that Trevor Connolly has been with the Tri-City Storm, and that's, I want to use this right here. I mean, this is somebody who has had 55 goals in 2 years with Tri-City. This is somebody who, in this past year, put up a 30-goal season while playing in the United States Hockey League. And I do want to mention that when it comes to Trevor Connolly, he played in just over 100 games in the USHL. So he is averaging just under a goal per game in the United States Hockey League when he's playing there for Tri-City. I also want to mention that when it comes to his points, 125 points in around 110 games played. So that's over a point per game throughout his amateur career playing for Tri-City. He also is somebody that can pick up some penalty minutes as well. He had around 80 penalty minutes this past year with Tri-City. So when you see the amateur stats that he has had with the Tri-City Storm, he has been one of the best talents that you'll see coming from the United States Hockey League. I also want to mention that when it comes to Trevor Connolly, he not only had a all-rookie honors in the United States Hockey League, but this is also a fact that he was named to a all-star for the United States Hockey League. This is also somebody who had one of the most points in franchise history for the Tri-City Storm, one of the top 5 in franchise history, despite only being there for 2 years. That's how talented Trevor Connolly is. I also want to remind you that when it comes to the NHL, there has been people who have stated that if it wasn't for the controversial incidents that I did briefly go over, he would have most likely been taken before the 19th overall pick. He fell to the Vegas Golden Knights. And if there's any organization that's willing to take a chance on people, well, I do want to remind you what the name of this team was in year 1. They are the Misfits. So when it comes to Trevor Connolly, this is going to be a potential for the Vegas Golden Knights to potentially get a player who has a lot of upside. And when it comes to Trevor Connolly, what I want to see from him, because he has not signed his deal yet, obviously, when it comes to the NHL Draft, it takes a few months for you to officially sign contracts. But even his international play has been very impressive. I mean, he played for Team USA, and he played for the under 18 team, not the World Juniors yet. But when it comes to that, it's very interesting because when you analyze it and actually take a step back, this past year when he played for the under 18 team for Team USA, the team that won the silver medal that year, he had 4 goals in 7 games. He had over a point per game in the under 18 team with Team USA. This is somebody who has spent a couple of years now being with Team USA on the international side. I mean, it's really impressive what Trevor Connolly has done. I mean, the 3 tournaments that he has been with Team USA, they have medaled in all 3 of them, and he has actually racked up 15 goals with Team USA over the past 2 seasons that he has done the international side. So when it comes to Trevor Connolly, I really like his potential. I believe that he is somebody that could be a stellar player with the Vegas Golden Knights if he is given a chance to play there. Now, moving forward, do I think that he is going to be with the Vegas Golden Knights right away? No. When it comes to a first-round pick, the Vegas Golden Knights rarely ever have them be a day 1 starter in the NHL. What I think could happen is that they will have him finish his United States Hockey League career, have him play for the Tri-City Storm to finish out that amateur run, or Trevor Connolly could maybe go to the NCAA. He could sign with a college, be there for a year or 2. But I really don't think that Trevor Connolly, despite all the upside that he has, I think that he might come to the Vegas Golden Knights maybe 2 years from now. I don't think that they're going to rush bringing him over to the Vegas Golden Knights. But, yeah, Trevor Connolly, I really like what we saw from him. And I think that, a lot of the speculation is that the Vegas Golden Knights picked him because they are looking at the positives and they're outweighing the negatives, which has been that controversial moments that he has had throughout his junior career. So that was your first round pick. The energy at the Spear, by the way, was incredible. I loved being here and being able to see all of this. And I definitely am looking forward to seeing what Trevor Connolly does for the Vegas Golden Knights in the future, but it's going to be a couple of years away. But yes, so the first round pick, 19th overall, Trevor Connolly goes to the Vegas Golden Knights from the Tri-City Storm in the United States Hockey League. Now, continuing the NHL Draft experience at the Spear in Las Vegas. Now, the second round, the Vegas Golden Knights did not have a pick, and that's because they traded their 2024 second-round pick and a 2026 fourth-round pick to get Anthony Mantha. Now, for anybody who is wondering, when am I going to upload the off-season episode? Because there's been a lot of updates about what the Vegas Golden Knights have done in the past 24 hours and the amount of players who have left the organization, like Anthony Mantha. Don't worry, we are going to be making that video. I am planning on uploading all of that when the off-season is officially wrapped. So I'm going to say probably next week, we are going to be uploading the full breakdown of all the members Vegas Golden Knights have lost. But trust me, for anybody who has been asking for that video, yes, I know that they've lost plenty of players this morning. This afternoon was an absolute bloodbath by the Vegas Golden Knights. But Anthony Mantha, they traded their second round pick to the Washington Capitals to have him be here for the postseason run that went to the first round, and then they got bounced by Dallas. But yeah, the second round pick went to Washington, and the Washington Capitals, they used it on a defenseman from Switzerland. I do not remember the name off the top of my head. I do apologize for that. But that was the second round pick and the situation that was happening there. But what was interesting is that while the draft was going on, there was a bunch of rumors and a bunch of speculation that the Vegas Golden Knights were trying to make trades while the NHL draft, while the day 2 experience, which is really, round 2 to round 7, a very busy morning and afternoon at the Spear for day 2. And one of these things that happened was the trade announcement that really shocked the full NHL, definitely shocked the Vegas Golden Knights fan base. And that was the announcement that Logan Thompson would be traded from the Vegas Golden Knights and would be heading to the Washington Capitals. Now, what was interesting about all of this is that he was at the Spear doing a autographed signing while everything was going on. He was being interviewed by media while everything was going on, and he kept his commitment. Like, he actually met with fans and did autographs and did, a bunch of meet and meets with all of these fans. He kept his word, even though he had just gotten traded to the Washington Capitals. Now, we are definitely going to make a video on the Logan Thompson trade, just like the next trade that happened. I'm going to be addressing that as well. But yeah, Logan Thompson being traded, this was a huge announcement for your Vegas Golden Knights. And the fact that it happened around the second, third round definitely was a big part of this draft tonight. And I will say for Logan Thompson, I wish him the best. Just like with all the players who left the Vegas Golden Knights this morning and this afternoon, I wish them all the best in their future endeavors. But when it comes to Logan Thompson, this is going to hurt because of the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights are now going to have to count on Aiden Hill to be there long-term and to be the everyday starter. And the MVP of Vegas Hockey Hub in Season 2, he is no longer going to be a Vegas Golden Knight. And that was the big thing that happened during that round 2, round 3 segment. But to kind of continue this conversation of the NHL draft and talking about the 2024 draft with the Vegas Golden Knights, no pick in round 2 as they traded that away for Anthony Mantha, but there was the trade announcement of Logan Thompson, and that was very important. Now, while all of those moves and everything that was going on, you had to get into the third round of the 2024 NHL draft. And originally, your Vegas Golden Knights did not have a pick here, as their third round pick in the 2024 NHL draft was part of their trade package that they gave the Calgary Flames at the trade deadline to go and get Noah Hanifin. So second round pick, that was sent to Washington for Anthony Mantha. Third round pick, that was given to Calgary for Noah Hanifin. However, I mentioned the Logan Thompson trade because that was very important for your Vegas Golden Knights, as they would end up getting a third round pick this year and a third round pick next year from the Washington Capitals in order to trade Logan Thompson. So once the official trade announcement was announced, the Vegas Golden Knights would be on the clock, actually conveniently 1 or 2 picks before their draft pick they gave to Calgary at the trade deadline. And with that third round pick, the Vegas Golden Knights, they would make a very impactful move as they would go out and get goaltender Pavel Moisevich, and he is out there in the KHL with St. Petersburg. And based off of the study and research that I have looked at, he has a real good upside if the Vegas Golden Knights can bring him over from Russia and be able to have him play in North America. Now, when it comes to all of these rules and regulations, when it comes to draft rights, it is very difficult and complicated, and I am not the best person to explain that. But what I will say about Pavel Moisevich is that this is a guy, 83rd overall. They trade one goalie to potentially draft their future NHL goalie in Pavel Moisevich. And here is what Pavel Moisevich brings to the table. Now, this is a goalie who is currently a teenager. This is someone who is, from Belarus. He's in the KHL with St. Petersburg. And this is going to be a player that if you give him a couple of years to develop, and I believe that he does have the ability there, but this is someone who at 19 years old, he's already playing professional hockey over in Russia. Now, the previous season that he had in the KHL, he was only playing about a dozen games in the KHL. He had 3 wins, 2 losses, and then 2 overtime losses. His goals against average of 1.25. That is very solid. And then a save percentage of 94%. Now, I am very aware that next season he is projected to still stay in Russia and play in the KHL with St. Petersburg. We're going to have to wait and see if his stats go up or if his stats go down with the more starts that he is projected to have next year. But overall, Pavel Moisevich, this is going to be a goalie who is around 6'5". He's around 180 pounds, a teenager, around 19 years old. And this is going to be a goalie where if Vegas does their cards right, okay, if the Vegas Golden Knights find a way to have Pavel Moisevich be a contributor 3 or 4 years down the road, by the time he's 23, by the time he's 24 years old, the Vegas Golden Knights could potentially have a goaltender who has already made playoff starts in the KHL. In fact, he had a game played in the KHL playoffs for St. Petersburg. He did lose in that outing, but still, for someone who was, around 18 years old, 19 years old, playing in the top Premier League in Russia, that is very impressive. And it'll be really curious to see when he gets brought over, when the Vegas Golden Knights have the ability to bring him over to the NHL. But this was a very good announcement for Vegas. The fact that they traded Logan Thompson for 2 third-round picks, and then they used that third-round pick on a goalie who is going to be a very beneficial move for them. So overall, this was a good deal by Vegas. I like the upside of Pavel Moisevic, and it'll be curious to see what he does or when the Vegas Golden Knights have the ability to bring him over. Now, let's get back to the 2024 NHL Draft, because there was news that broke while all of this was happening, and that was the fact that Paul Cotter was traded to the New Jersey Devils. So DJ Paulie C, this was a very good member of the Vegas Golden Knights. He was drafted a long time ago, one of the original draft classes with the Vegas Golden Knights, solid middle six forward. And it was announced that he would be traded to the New Jersey Devils, but what they got back was very interesting, as it was announced that the Vegas Golden Knights traded Paul Cotter to the New Jersey Devils, and one of the main people they got back in that deal was goalie Akira Schmid. Now, Akira Schmid is going to be an interesting topic because he is someone who is only 24 years old, but he has played NHL experience. I mean, he was with the New Jersey Devils when they went to the playoffs in 2023. He started Stanley Cup playoff games just this past year, not this year, but the year prior. And he was in the AHL part-time last year, part-time NHL with the New Jersey Devils. And that's really been his career with New Jersey. I mean, throughout his 3-year run, he has been part-time AHL, part-time NHL. It'll be curious to see the Vegas Golden Knights have him be part-time NHL, part-time AHL next year, or if he ends up being the full-time backup to Aiden Hill, because, there was the announcement of who the Vegas Golden Knights goalie-wise in the free agency, and we'll talk about all that in the future video. But, yeah, Paul Cotter being traded, Kira Schmid coming back that way. But then the thing that was very interesting was the fact that the Vegas Golden Knights would also make a deal with the New Jersey Devils to send a third-round pick in 2025, and they would bring in Alexander Holtz. So Alexander Holtz, a former top pick with the New Jersey Devils, and this is going to be really interesting because a third-round pick for Alexander Holtz, this guy, former top 10 pick, this past year in New Jersey, he did play all 82 games, but only had around 15 goals for them. It feels like he really hasn't met his potential from being a top 10 pick. I mean, after all, he only played around 110 games in his NHL career. He's been in 3 seasons so far, but his most points that he has had in an NHL season was 28, and that was the previous year. So it'll be interesting to see if the Vegas Golden Knights can get the most out of Alexander Holtz. But trading a third-round pick next year to New Jersey to get Alexander Holtz, I like this deal. I want to see if he can contribute with Vegas. But I also want to remind you that he is 1-year deal, just like Akira Schmid is an RFA. We'll see if, he gets a deal done with the Vegas Golden Knights. But Alexander Holtz, he is an RFA next year. So depending on how well he does, we'll see if the Vegas Golden Knights bring him back after that 1-year stint. And then Akira Schmid, he is an RFA, so Vegas Golden Knights will have to sign him to a deal. But yeah, that was in between, round 3 and round 4. And let's get back to the NHL draft itself, because there was some interesting notes when it comes to your Vegas Golden Knights. The 4th round pick that the Vegas Golden Knights had in the 2024 draft, they traded this pick away a few years prior, But it was very beneficial to the Vegas Golden Knights, as 2 years ago, they sent their 2024 fourth-round pick to the San Jose Sharks to get goalie Adin Hill. So to really look at the draft picks that Vegas traded away, second-round pick went to Washington for Anthony Mantha, third-round pick went to Calgary for Noah Hanifin, and then the fourth-round pick went to San Jose for Adin Hill. And Noah Hanifin is going to be one of your top blue liners in Vegas for the foreseeable future. And then Adin Hill won a Stanley Cup with Vegas and is the starting goalie moving forward with the Logan Thompson announcement. And interesting enough, San Jose took a goalie from Switzerland in this pick. So the San Jose Sharks essentially traded Adin Hill for a draft pick that turned into a goalie. Just like how the Vegas Golden Knights traded Logan Thompson, the Vegas Golden Knights drafted a goalie as that replacement with that pick. Heading over to the fifth round this time, and the Vegas Golden Knights would not have a pick. As the fifth round pick the Vegas Golden Knights had, this would end up going to the Philadelphia Flyers. And this is actually part of the Noah Hanifin trade. But what the Vegas Golden Knights did, this was kind of a partial move. The Vegas Golden Knights ended up getting a RFA in Mikhail Vorobrev. But in order to get him, they gave Philadelphia a fifth-round pick. So this was part of the Noah Hanifin trade, but this was necessary. This was basically the Vegas Golden Knights trading a fifth-round pick to get a restricted free agent that they could have on that books. So, yeah, fifth-round pick. The Philadelphia Flyers ended up taking a defenseman with that move, and we'll see how that happens for the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the sixth round for the Vegas Golden Knights, this was a pick that they've actually kept. Oh, wow. We have not had a pick kept since the first round with the Vegas Golden Knights. And with the sixth round pick, the Vegas Golden Knights would end up getting Trent Swick, a left wing from the OHL. And I'm going to sit here and say that the sixth and seventh round picks, don't know too much about them. But what I will say about Trent Swick, him being in the OHL, him being a sixth round pick, I will not be shocked if he spends another year or two being in the OHL. Now, I'm going to use HockeyDB as my reference here. And Trent Swick, this is a 20-year-old. He's been playing for Kitchener in the OHL. And this past season, he had 25 goals and 60 points alongside 60 penalty minutes with the Kitchener Rangers. And in the playoffs, he had 5 goals in 7 games. Now, when it comes to him, he is around 6 foot, about 205 with the Kitchener Rangers. And it's going to be interesting to see how he does there. And, I look at Trent Swick, and it's actually 6'6". My apologies, not 6 foot. But him being 6'6", him being around 205, I really want to see what his size and his potential can be with the Vegas Golden Knights. But yeah, so him being taken in the 6th round and him having just under a point per game last year in the OHL, and that was in the 6th round, Trent Swick. And then we got about 2 minutes left here in the show. In the 7th and final round, the Vegas Golden Knights, they would trade away their pick and give it to the Washington Capitals in a trade that happened the year prior. But the Vegas Golden Knights did get a 7th round pick, as the Vegas Golden Knights did get a 7th round from Columbus when they did the Jonathan Quick trade at the trade deadline the year prior. And they ended up getting Lucas Van Fleet. And he is a center from the United States Hockey League. So the Vegas Golden Knights, in their 4 picks that they had, they ended up taking a left wing from the United States Hockey League, a goalie from the KHL, a left wing from the Ontario Hockey League, and then a center from the United States Hockey League. Now, very quickly, when it comes to Lucas Van Fleet, This is somebody who, with him being in the United States Hockey League and being part of Team Canada, he is somebody who this past year, he had 13 goals and 22 points in 51 games for the under-18 team with Team USA. So this has been a very fun episode, breaking down the 2024 NHL Draft class for your Vegas Golden Knights. I appreciate everybody who is watching the show. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.